it's too late. Tell him what you think, tell him how you feel. Don't even let him blink, that's gotta be the deal. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kick down the door, I pour gas on the floor, light it once more, and fuck up what came before. Girl, get behind the wheel if you want your soul to heal. You gotta have nerves of steel and float on an even keel. Drive down the road, drive over his toes. You need to explode, deafen him with noise or do what's in your core. Kick down the door, pour gas on the floor, light it once more, and fuck up what came before. Honey, you got the style, you got a mind of gal. Drink the shot, then go the mile in your dress to beguile. Cut him away, cut him from your life. Just do it today and just pick up the knife. Oh, man, you're honey talk. Kick down the door, I pour gas on the floor, light it once more, and fuck him up to zero the score.
A white rider at the rise of the dawn, dressed up in new clothing that was all torn. Talked down to me in a soft voice of scorn, but I was not deaf enough to hear him. A woman said on her way to the shore that she wasn't going to swim no more, and she'd taken to love to break the law. But I was not weak, so could not hold her. The new banker spent 2 cards to the fool who placed his bed in the depths of the pool, and won $8 by keeping the rule. But I was rich, so I could not spot him. My doctor told me my life was too long, and I'd overstay the end of my song. She'd be wound in her sheet ere I was gone, and I was too well to fully cure her. The brickmaker fired his kiln from the cold, then went to sleep as the wall was all sold. He woke to find there were cracks in the mold, but I was too skilled to fill them for him. The map reader laid his chart on the floor, and the soldier marched her line to the door, to leave the room and to rejoin the war. But I need peace, so I paid to arm her. God sent his son to the world for a dare, The devil won, but God claimed not to care, while cursing the saints who walked with him there. But my faith was too frail to deny him.
Duke looked at his birthday present, a 5-pin tumbler, its parts on his bench. He could see a driver was slightly bent, and its design was not English but French. His tutor knocked and said, "Sir, that's enough. Estienne's Hebrew alphabet awaits." Took the loop from his eye in a huff, impatient with books and matters of state. Age 16, he rose from his marriage bed, where his shepherdess in beauty did lie, and went downstairs to his workshop instead. Duty unfinished he couldn't deny. Minister spoke of nobles protesting his lenience to those who defied Rome. His queen was with a stable groom nesting, so he hid away with his tools in their room. The treaty with the American colonies he signed despite his doubts and the expense. If only political policies, like his barrel springs and shanks, made some sense. When the malcontents stormed the armory, and the nation was at war with itself, he was a citizen needing to flee, and the locks must take care of themselves. They caught him, tried him, executed him on the 21st of January. He was in the wrong job, clever not dim, but with pins off the sheet and the wrong key.
I've come to this unfamiliar place by a road that I remember so well. Traveled from a point where my mirrored face had no lines, no gray, no story to tell. My granddaughter and I were looking through an album from before her father was born. Grandma, who is that man who's kissing you? We were snapped on my college bridge at dawn. We blaze with our seductive fire, with its sultry, ravishing desire. I went silent as my thoughts weren't subtle. My dress was sheer, my stilettos were high. His tie hung loose like the champagne bottle he held in one hand, the other on my thigh. A boat on the backs drifted under the bridge with two others in an embrace of love. He and I found a place behind a hedge. I let fall my dress smooth as a silk glove. We blaze with our seductive fire, with its sultry, ravishing desire. I stabbed his ankle with one of my heels. When we'd finished, he pressed till the pain eased. I looked at his blood on the fallen leaves. Oh my God, I said, secretly pleased. We went back to my room, I locked my door. We dragged my mattress onto the floorboards. We missed lectures for a fortnight or more, dialed our meals with a phone with twisted cords. We blaze with our seductive fire, with its sultry, ravishing desire. I can see the end, it's now not as far as it seemed last week, last month, or last year. Why does that picture make you cry, Grandma? She looked out, maybe not wanting to hear. You never knew your grandfather, darling. There was part of our life that was so good. From before I heard his name, I was falling. You'll look back one day, it'll be understood. We blaze with our seductive fire, with its sultry, ravishing desire.
Sang to me a song of the gods, her life a company among the leaves. She sang of a time when men played the odds, fated to lose, the gods do as they please. She smiled and winked as if I had a choice to turn and leave before her song. So I would miss the nectar in her voice, echoing after my heart was mended. Her song was long, but too sweet to tell. If the gods knew she had chosen it well, slice through her words, then tape them shut. a tick in her immortality. Her blown seeds were drifting, their stems uncut, and she laughed at my time's finality. The sun was setting now behind her head. Her hair lit gold like a Christian saint that never walked Ariadne silk thread from slaying the beast with its bloody taint. Her song was long but too sweet to tell. If the gods knew she had chosen it well. Now night had fallen, and her minor key made this listener drowsy among the weeds. I sat with my back against a beech tree and heard her voice that makes honest men thieves. When I woke, Apollo was in my eyes, his chariot standing where she had sung. He said, now go, you will regret your prize. And I knew I would be forever young. His song was short, I could easily tell. The gods knew that I had bid them farewell. Nostalgia is really blind opinions. We had it bad, we made it better. We need to add that good forever. We loved and we caught a sickness for life. Back in the past when we built things to last, and we all suffered continuous strife. We had it bad, we made it better. We need to add that good forever. We burned women who tried to be doctors. Back in the past when we built things to last. Sentiment for Venice, for false actors. We had it bad, we made it better. We need to add that good forever. We got injured and it led us to death. Back in the past when we built things to last.
simple cut and we breathe our last breath. We had it bad, we made it better. We need to add that good forever. We hanged people for what they believed in. Back in the past when we built things to last. Thinking thoughts are sins, is it self a sin? We had it bad, we made it better. We need to add that good forever. Almost all that we built crumbled to dust. Back in the past, things just seem built to last. All that survived is just what didn't rust. We had it bad, we made it better. We need to add that good forever. As we have world enough in time, I will let my story's words flow. At the start I needed to climb, so we'll begin them at the low. At 15 drunk I was ravished by a man who gave me 5 pounds. I'd never had so much lavished, so my plans expanded their bounds. Eliza Crouch would be Cora Pearl, beauty and good time party girl. At my school convent in Boulogne, I learned French, so Paris for me. I seduced dressed in a fine gown, Victor Fifth Duc de Rivoli. He gave me jewels and soffers, and money servants and a chef. After I rode him wearing spurs, till he howled in a treble clef. Eliza Crouch became Cora Pearl, courtesan in a Paris world. I became mistress to the half, brother of Napoleon III. Got a Lorry chateau with staff, a bath all made from gold may we. At a table at which sat 16, for dinner naked I was served, carried by men bodies a sheen. My modesty was not preserved. Eliza Crouch is now Cora Pearl, a lover to dukes and to worlds. Joseph Charles Paul Bonaparte gave me Les Petites Tuileries, a palace that suited my art, une fille de joie who'd broken free. The Third Republic came to France, and the aristocrats declined. My fortune shrank in hard finance, men selling much that was mine. Eliza Crouch was still core a pearl, but my petals began to curl. In Monte Carlo I sat down and wept at the side of the road, near bankrupt face run like a clown. I retired to a friend's abode. My obit light said my end descended into poverty, but I'd comfort still with some friends, and I held to some property. I didn't regret Cora Pearl, courtesan in a Paris swirl. The Puritans had then returned to condemn all that they craved. I could have had all of them charmed, but that I lay still in my grave.
Now you and I are the first to greet them. Arrived after 300,000 years, confident in their pronouncements, but then so circumspect about how they appear. They whisper in front of our eyes, but also sometimes whisper lies. In all that time we talk to each other, which was a delight to us all, agreed. To mother, father, sister, and brother, to friend or enemy, for joy or need. They paint images for our ears, but never cry an artist's tears. A gamed imitation closer to thought than seemed possible but a short time since. Insightful with no insight notions, caught by unconscious impulse, made to convince. Their shadows upon the cave wall cast down an endless mirrored hall. Widely read, they speak histories at length, then seamlessly change subject to physics. And they set down reason with trenchant strength, but then backtrack when we act as critics. And their advice seems as if it's straight, but needs a check to give it weight. No more a friend than the pen writing this. They are soft and never acrimonious, never a crossword nor a word amiss, a chain running on the autonomous. We have made them ourselves, and now they write stories to tell us how. We had everyone in the world to talk with the day we asked them to join the chat. The clever but empty light-speed wordsmiths with amicable conversing format. They show the lover from our dream. The love can't live within their scheme.
It was time for action. Time was time for peace. Time was the day for discussion over rubble, bodies and disease. Time was we awoke, filled with a resolve to fight. Time was we all choked on war's smoke that we'd lit alight. Time was time to sing. Time was time for quiet. Time was the day for writing the song to ignite a riot. Time was a barricade was made from tires and timber and men who cowered behind it afraid as the tanks rolled forward again. Time was time for courage. Time was time for grief. Time was the day for burying the body of a life that was brief. Time was a squadron of bombers flew beneath the cirrus clouds and were brought down by SAM missiles. There was nothing left for the shrouds. Time was time to attack. Time was time to concede. Time was the day for ending this mistake. All were agreed. Time was an armada sinking in a storm of fire, became a heroic saga written by a hack for hire. Time was time for precision. Time was time to strike. Time was the day to bomb a school near a terrorist site. Time was 23 corpses of 6-year-old girls with their toys were collected by their fathers, whose future didn't hold any joy. Swipe right, met him in a village bar. Sat on a tall stool, bought my own drink, and I really said, have you come far? Felt like a fool, but he didn't blink. In the shouts and noise and the music, he spoke so soft, but I could hear clear. Thinking later it seemed like magic, that his voice got as far as my ear. He was pale, he was tall, his hair was dark. He had something about him that hit the mark. A song ended, he got to his feet, seemed to drift to the jukebox on the wall. Paid his dollar, typed a search in one beat. I got it as I heard the first chord fall. The song was mine, he knew who I was. He said your profile, the wig, the name you wear, brushed all of your ink. That goes some other way to hide in your fame. He was pale, he was tall, his hair was dark. He had something about him that hit the mark. We talked for 5 drinks and against a wall. Saw him frown, I stood on one leg, on toe, on point. Hooked him to me, using the other. I sliced his neck with my index nail and drank as he moaned like a lover. The tricks to go slow so their heart don't fail. He was pale, he was tall, his hair was dark. He had something about him that hit the mark. I picked up his body with one hand, opened a dumpster and threw it in. I'd seen a woman, maybe a bit bland, in the bar before, went back, bought a gin. She was soft, she was sweet, that New York night. She had something about her that tasted just right.
You slithered beside me in a black trench, under a pressure that would crush a stone, on sulfur mud from hydrothermal vents. Its smell to us was the sweet smell of home. Our music from then continues to play, and I loved you then as I love you today. You swam round a rock with a flick of your tail, colors glistening on your lateral line, dappled light making patterns on your scales. Though I had no words to call you mine, our music from then continues to play, and I loved you then as I love you today. Shore in the burning sun, hid under a branch to shade from its glare, wet, trembling, afraid, our new life begun, on a beach with just plants and insects there. Our music from then continues to play, and I loved you then as I love you today. Crept towards a reptile's nest to steal eggs for our darling children to eat. Foraging for food after dark works best, when torpor numbs the ones that have no heed. Our music from then continues to play, and I loved you then as I love you today. To my fire to warm your sleek fur, and I offered you stew on my bone spoon. Then in case there was something you'd prefer, I gave you my wood carving of the moon. Our music from then continues to play, and I loved you then as I love you today.
Oh, you're walking to me in the arrivals hall, with your hips swaying, your luggage in tow, giving me your smile that pins me to the wall and makes the turning of the whole world slow. 4 billion